Hey, this is Doug with Backcountry, Pilgrim, a channel all about hiking, camping, backpacking, and the gear that goes with it. Today I'm taking you out on the trail to check out a new company called TrailLark and their one-person tent. When I first started backpacking, I went out and got a fairly inexpensive two-person freestanding tent. A freestanding tent is one that relies for its structure on a bendable pole system that attaches to the tent itself and to the rainfly. Although you can use stakes to hold it down and maybe to pull some guy lines out to give the tent a bit more volume, the basic idea with a freestanding tent is that it can hold itself up. And this feature comes in handy in a number of situations. For one thing, when you get done setting the tent up, if you get in and decide that you didn't have the best placement, you can just pick the whole thing up and move it. Another great feature about a freestanding tent is that if you find yourself in a situation where what is underneath you is too hard to drive a stake in, or in ground cover that is too loose to keep stakes in, the tent does not become unusable. Because all or nearly all of a tent's volume is held in place by its own self-enclosed system, you can pick it up and set it anywhere. Now that tent has held up pretty well, and it was also pretty inexpensive, which means, you guessed it, it was heavy. So when I got back into backpacking a couple of years ago, I decided to do some investigation and see what else was out there. And what I discovered was the non-freestanding tent, specifically trekking pole tents. The way a trekking pole tent works is that it is held to the ground by tent stakes, and it keeps its height and form by attaching guy lines to trekking poles which hold it up. Now the nice thing about a trekking pole tent is that it removes about a pound of weight off of your back and puts it in your hands where your trekking poles are. So if you're using trekking poles anyway, you can save yourself the weight of a tent pole by using your trekking pole. This also makes them less expensive, which means you can get a better tent for a lower price and a lower weight, so long as you're bringing trekking poles with you. So I got the 3F UL Gear Lanshan 2, a two-person trekking pole tent. Comes in at about 150 bucks and weighs about 2.5 pounds. Now that is an impressively low weight, but of course, that's not counting the trekking pole, so it's really not fair to list it as a 2.5 pound tent. Now 2.5 pounds is a pretty impressive weight for a two-person tent of any kind of quality, especially if you're not spending that much money on it. And even 3.5 pounds if you count the trekking poles is pretty darn good for the price. My problem is, I live in California where a lot of my ground cover is made of granite. It is not at all unusual to find a spot like this where your choices consist of rock or decomposed rock. A place like this gets too windy, your tent's probably going to come down. Now, those of you familiar with the backpacking gear formula will probably recognize that there are typically three features you look for in any piece of gear. You want something that's lightweight, you want something that's of good, durable quality, and you want something that's inexpensive. Typically, you're only going to be able to pick two. If a piece of gear is lightweight and inexpensive, it's probably not very high quality. If a piece of gear is inexpensive and durable, it's probably not going to be very lightweight. If a piece of gear is of good quality and lightweight, it's probably not going to be inexpensive, etc. But, being the optimist that I am, I decided it was time to go shopping and see what was out there. It didn't take long to discover that the formula is still in play. So I had decided that I was going to have to spend a lot of money to get a good, lightweight, freestanding tent. It was about that time that my buddy Tim from over at Backpacking with Buckley, channel you should check out if you haven't found it already, posted a video where he claimed to have found a good, lightweight, 2.5 pound tent that only cost $99. Yeah, right. This new company, started by a couple of hiking brothers called TrailLark, specifically to provide low-cost, lightweight equipment for backpackers. Now, the brothers were kind enough to send me a tent for review. I have taken it out of the box and done just kind of a quick initial setup, just to the point where I could be sure that I had all the parts, because I didn't want to come all the way out here and find out that something had been missing from the package. I didn't read the instructions or anything. I wanted to see how easy it was to set up. And one of the ways I like to test that is to just try to set it up sight unseen. And I have to say, it was very easy. This TrailLark tent, the first one that the brothers put out, is a one-person tent. I was initially impressed by the weight because it only comes in at a ½ pound, more than my Lanshan 2 without the trekking poles, which means that it actually weighs less than the Lanshan 2 with all the equipment needed to set it up. And it is a freestanding tent, which again, for me here in California, is a very important feature. And today, I'm going to be fully setting it up for the very first time. All right, so now that we have the tent open, I'll let you see the vestibule, which is not large. I could probably stake that out a little bit better, but you're maybe looking at some shoes and some cookware, but not a backpack. Got a D-shaped large mesh door. In fact, almost the entirety of this side of the tent is a door. The inside, not hugely spacious. That's the head end. You do have a dual mesh pocket hanging right here, and the foot end. Now, unless I missed it, there are no side tie downs, so the tent is basically just going to expand as you lie down in it or put a sleeping pad in it, but I can't really stake it out in a way that will show you how big it can get. But as you can see, it's actually quite a bit more spacious than it looks when you first set it up. All right, so headroom wise, if I am in the middle, I have a bit of space. I can feel the tent pushing on me a little bit, but it's fine. I can sit up. As far as lying down, I'm sure that will not be a problem. Plenty of room. My feet are touching the back of the tent, and the front, or what I'm calling the front, is about this far from my head. I'm 5'10", 5'11", so there's plenty of room here. Could probably get a little bit of storage at the head or the foot, depending on where you put your sleeping pad. And again, it's actually wider inside than it looks when you first set it up, but it's your body or your sleeping pad or your stuff that's gonna hold it out there. There is a ton of mesh on this tent. If you're outside on a day like this and you don't want your rain fly, you're gonna be able to see pretty much everything. If you pull back the rain fly, you can get quite the view from the side. Over here we have a small vent. This is just a fabric kind of thing here. So something needs to hold this up. The rain fly is seam sealed all the way across, so no need to worry about that. The tent does come with 8 good stakes. These are sizable, and I love the neon cordage that is on here. Gonna make this very easy to see at night. The tent attaches to the stakes with a simple band of material here. And once that's in, you have a clip, quick release for the rain fly, simple tensioner, and you're on your way. You've got quite a bit of cordage on here. There are loops on the tent that this can go to. That's going to help secure it in the wind and also increase the volume. You do get a very lightweight stuff sack, which fits everything very easily. All right, well, there you have it. The TrailLark 1-person ultralight tent. Pretty impressive. It was fairly easy to set up, very lightweight, and at $99, pretty inexpensive. I think TrailLark is off to a great start. I hope they are successful. If you are interested in picking up the TrailLark 1-person tent, look down in the description of the video below. I will link to it. All right, I hope this review of the TrailLark 1-person tent has been helpful to you. If it has, would you mind giving the video a like? And if you're not a subscriber, you can take care of that right now by hitting the subscribe button, and also click that bell if you want to be notified when new videos drop. I'm going to head down to this beautiful lake. Until next time, I'm Doug. This is Backcountry Pilgrim. Take it easy.